Colleagues accuse Black assistant of theft. Unaware, he's the developer who exposed their crime. They dismissed him as just the help, a quiet, unassuming man, blending into the background, unnoticed and unappreciated. But little did they know, the very man they overlooked was the mastermind behind the advanced security system safeguarding their entire company. What happened next turned their world upside down and proved that appearances can be deceiving. Stay tuned for a story of resilience, brilliance, and a twist you'll never forget. The story begins with James, a soft-spoken Black man in his early 30s, walking into the sleek glass and steel headquarters of Sentinel Systems. He carried a toolbox in one hand, his other tucked into the pocket of his plain navy blue maintenance uniform, embroidered with the company's logo. James exuded an air of quiet determination, though his unassuming appearance allowed him to blend seamlessly into the background. Employees bustled past him, their tailored suits and polished shoes reflecting their high-ranking corporate positions. They barely noticed James as he moved through the building's halls. To them, he was just another maintenance worker, a background figure they neither acknowledged nor appreciated. But James wasn't who they thought he was. Unknown to his co-workers, James was the brilliant architect behind Sentinel Systems' cutting-edge security platform, a system so advanced that it had been praised across industries for its ability to predict breaches, detect threats, and safeguard sensitive data. His work had propelled Sentinel Systems to multi-million-dollar success. Yet James didn't crave recognition or accolades. He had a far more meaningful mission: to observe firsthand how his creation functioned in real-world scenarios and uncover the human vulnerabilities of those who relied on it. To achieve this, James chose to go undercover, starting at the very bottom of the corporate ladder. James quickly discovered that life as a maintenance worker came with its own challenges. He faced subtle insults, dismissive glances, and occasional smirks from employees who assumed he was less skilled or less important. "Hey, maintenance guy," someone barked at him one morning, waving toward a flickering light. "Think you can handle that, or should we call someone more qualified?" James nodded calmly, fixing the light without a word. He wasn't bothered by their dismissiveness. In fact, he welcomed it. It allowed him to quietly observe their behaviors and interactions. He noticed troubling trends almost immediately. Employees ignored minor system alerts, bypassed protocols for convenience, and brushed aside flagged issues. But more concerning was the behavior of a few employees, accessing restricted areas late at night, bypassing security features, and manipulating access logs. James knew these weren't simple mistakes. Something bigger was at play. As the system's creator, James had built features into Sentinel Systems that even the company's leadership didn't know about. Among them was an advanced surveillance and behavior analysis module, capable of tracking patterns and identifying internal threats. Late at night, after everyone had gone home, James activated these hidden features. With a few keystrokes, he began logging suspicious activities and collecting evidence. He documented patterns of restricted area access, unauthorized equipment use, and anomalies in the system's logs. But as James worked quietly behind the scenes, the office buzzed with rumors. Whispers spread about the new maintenance worker. "Who is he anyway?" one employee asked. "Why does someone with his skills settle for fixing broken printers?" Todd, a senior project manager notorious for his arrogance, smirked. "Probably just a guy looking for an easy paycheck. Don't waste your time worrying about him." James ignored the gossip and speculation. He wasn't here to prove himself to anyone. His focus remained on his mission. One Monday morning, the usual hum of the office was replaced by a tense quiet. Employees shuffled into the conference room, uneasy expressions on their faces. At the front of the room stood Mr. Thompson, the director of operations. His grim expression silenced the whispers. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we have a serious problem. Over the past few weeks, several high-value assets have gone missing. This threatens not only our operations, but also our reputation. We need answers, and we need them now." The room fell silent. Nervous glances darted around as employees silently wondered if they were under suspicion. Todd, lounging casually in his chair, gestured toward James with a smug grin. "Maybe we should start with the obvious," he said. "The new guy is always wandering around with tools. Who knows what he's really up to?" All eyes turned to James. The tension was palpable. James remained calm. He met Todd's gaze steadily and replied in a measured tone, "I only do what I'm asked." Nothing more, nothing less. The accusation hung in the air, planting seeds of doubt. Though no one openly agreed with Todd, the suspicion was evident. James quietly left the meeting, his composure unshaken. Behind him, the office descended into a storm of speculation. Over the next week, James's investigation deepened. The data he collected revealed a troubling pattern. Employees who appeared above suspicion were tampering with equipment, accessing restricted areas, and stealing assets. It became clear that the thefts were an inside job, orchestrated by individuals who thought they were untouchable. By Friday, the tension in the office was at its peak. Mr. Thompson convened another meeting, this time to review security footage. The room grew silent as the first clip played on the screen. Grainy footage showed Todd and two other senior employees sneaking into restricted areas, using stolen access cards to smuggle out expensive equipment. Their actions were deliberate and brazen, leaving no room for doubt. A collective gasp echoed through the room. Todd, who had been lounging confidently moments earlier, turned pale. This can't be right," he stammered. "The footage must be fake." Mr. Thompson silenced him with a sharp look. "The system doesn't lie," he said firmly. "The timestamps match the access logs perfectly." All eyes turned to James. Slowly, he stood. The room, filled with awe and embarrassment, fell silent. "You all assumed I was just a handyman," James began, his voice steady. "You dismissed me without a second thought. But I built this system, every line of code, every safeguard, every fail-safe. It's my work, and I designed it to protect companies from exactly this kind of betrayal." The weight of his words settled over the room. Employees exchanged uneasy glances, realizing how deeply they had underestimated him. Mr. Thompson ordered security to escort Todd and his accomplices out of the building, promising legal consequences. Later that day, Mr. Thompson called James into his office. His tone was apologetic. "James, I owe you an apology and an explanation. Why didn't you tell us who you were?" James smiled faintly. "I wanted to see how the system worked under pressure, without anyone knowing I was involved, but I didn't expect the test to reveal so much." Impressed by James's brilliance and integrity, Mr. Thompson offered him a leadership position, ensuring his talents would no longer be overlooked. In the weeks that followed, Sentinel Systems underwent a transformation. Employees reflected on their biases, realizing how they had underestimated James. Under his leadership, the company fostered a culture of fairness and transparency, ensuring no one else would have to endure what he did. James's story proves one undeniable truth. Real power lies not in titles, but in resilience, integrity, and skill. Through his quiet determination and brilliance, James not only safeguarded his company, but also reshaped its culture. And in doing so, he showed us all the importance of looking beyond appearances. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with more inspiring tales.